Thank you for taking the time to meet, Jerry. I really didn't know who else to turn to. Someone who's been such a close friend to both me and John. Not just friends, hopefully. I care deeply for both you and John, even if I've known him longer. That means a lot. She let out a sigh, seeming to search for the right words. Take your time, Janice. Tell me what's on your mind. John has been different in the last 6 months. In what way? It's hard to put into words. He feels more distant. That's probably the best way to describe it. He rarely smiles when he gets home. Instead of greeting me, he goes straight for a drink. He used to come to me first. It doesn't seem to matter what I prepare for dinner. He eats quietly and heads to his home office. Perhaps he's dealing with extra work right now. That's what he tells me when I ask. I confronted him, telling him I should be his priority when he's home, not work. But he looked at me like I was crazy. He keeps saying, I have a lot of work right now. I'm doing this for us and our family's future. If you don't want me to work from home, I'll just stay longer at the office. I'm scared to push further. I'm afraid I'll hardly see him at all. I just end up in my room crying. What about your intimacy? I understand if it's a sensitive topic for you. You're one of the few I confide in about this. Our intimacy has decreased significantly, and when it happens, it feels like mere physicality rather than the emotional connection of lovemaking. He finishes, then goes to sleep, leaving me unsatisfied. I can't remember the last time I had an ecstasy with him. I hope I'm not making you uncomfortable with my story. I'm not uncomfortable at all. Firstly, I'm glad you trust me enough to share this. Secondly, I'm astounded that John doesn't appreciate the incredible woman you are. Beautiful, caring, and intelligent. You deserve someone who cherishes you and fulfills your desires. Thank you for that. I just wish John felt the same way. Have I changed so much? I might have a bit of a belly now, and my breasts have always been small. Am I not attractive to him anymore? Or perhaps he's found someone better looking than me. If he's seeking someone else, it's not because you lack attractiveness. If John were out of the picture, men would be lining up to date you. I'd probably be at the front of that line. Those words mean a lot, thank you. Have you noticed any signs of infidelity? Late nights at the office. More frequent business trips. Perfume scents on his clothes. No, but that's not much comfort. He's too clever to get caught up in the typical discovery scenarios. What worries me is what happens at his office. I wonder if the reason he brings so much work home is because he's engaging in questionable activities there. Have you seen how many attractive women work alongside him? Yes, I have. Janice, none of them hold a candle to you in terms of both beauty and personality. If he's tempted by any of those women, it might be because he's taken your kindness for granted. You've been married for almost 7 years, and sometimes these things tend to surface around this time in marriages. So, I should try to get his attention more. I've been dressing more provocatively at home. I've suggested showering together. I've shown enthusiasm during our intimate moments. But it doesn't seem to change anything. That's precisely what I meant. You've been an amazing wife, and he's fallen into a comfort zone, taking you for granted. You've become a secure base from which he ventures out, thinking he can always return to you. Do you think he's having affairs? I hope not. It would hurt me deeply if he were betraying your trust. It might even strain our friendship. Losing both of you would be devastating. Jerry's eyes welled up. Tell me what to do. I'm at a loss here. I believe he needs a reminder of how fortunate he is to have you. Consider stepping back from doing so much for him. Maybe drop hints about potentially being pursued by other men. Talk about a new, attractive colleague at work that everyone seems interested in, but don't mention any names. Plan a girls' night out and dress alluringly. Actually, dress more provocatively at work. Mention having to work late on some evenings. Do you think he might react negatively if I did that? You want to stir things up a bit. You're aiming to shift the dynamics at home. John probably won't take drastic action unless he had concrete evidence of you with another man. It might finally make him listen to your concerns about his behavior, providing an opportunity to mend your marriage. As Janice pondered Jerry's advice, he grinned and added, "Or you could tell him you're pregnant, but unsure if he's the father." Janice playfully slapped Jerry's hand, laughing. That definitely get his attention, and probably a divorce too. Let me be serious again. Divorce is one thing, but a miserable marriage is worse. You're still young and desirable. If you keep doing the same things without change and expect a different outcome in your marriage. I know, that's the definition of insanity. I dislike the idea of playing games, but if I can't think of anything else, I have to run. Thanks, Jerry. You're a great friend. She stood up, and they hugged before parting ways. Feel free to call me anytime. I'm here for you. As Janice walked away, Jerry couldn't help but think, finally, an opportunity. I couldn't have orchestrated this any better. Now, it's time to sow some seeds in John's mind. Hey, John, it's Jerry. Can we grab lunch today? My treat. Thanks, Jerry, but I'm really swamped with work right now. Another time, perhaps? John, I don't want to sound dramatic, but we really need to meet for the sake of your marriage. What? What's going on with my marriage? It's a lot to explain over the phone. I've been hesitant to call, but I can't keep this to myself. If you're confident everything's fine with Janice, forget I called. I'll meet you at the 8th Street Grill at 12 o'clock. John spotted Jerry at a table and joined him, ordering a drink before diving in. So, what's this about my marriage? Janice reached out to me for lunch the other day. She asked me to keep it between us, but I can't hold back from you, being your longtime friend. She asked me straight up if you were having an affair. What? Why would she think that? Have you noticed any changes at home lately? I've had a lot of extra work lately, but I'd assured her it's temporary. She seemed upset that I haven't been as affectionate as she'd like. I try to initiate intimacy occasionally, thinking it would suffice. Perhaps I need to give her more attention. I fear it might be too late. What do you mean? I believe she's convinced that you're having an affair. She mentioned feeling like you believe she couldn't find someone else. From what she described about the men hitting on her at work, I think she might have sought revenge. If she did, I'll divorce her so fast. Take a breath. I'm not certain. If she's accusing you of infidelity, it might be to cover her own tracks. She likely feels justified. An hour ago, I thought I had a happy marriage. And now, what should I do? You need evidence either way. You could hire a private investigator, or I could discreetly gather some information myself. She confides in me with certain things. I can't afford a PI. Could you help dig deeper? Anything else? It pains me to suggest this, but you might want to consult a lawyer. A lawyer? Isn't that premature? No, it's preparation. It's about exploring your options and drafting a fair settlement. It doesn't mean you have to act on it. Plus, you don't know if she's spoken to a lawyer already. All right, I guess that's the wise move. Anything else? Don't alter anything in your behavior at home. Any change might raise suspicion, and that could hinder my ability to find out more for you. Understood. It won't be easy. Jerry knew it wouldn't just be challenging, but nearly impossible. When someone tells another person not to change their behavior, it often triggers exactly that. People end up trying to act normally while ensuring they appear normal, inevitably leading to some shifts. From Janice's subsequent meeting, Jerry's prediction was confirmed. Jerry, things have gotten even stranger lately. Something's definitely up. I've hinted about my supposed affair, but he hasn't seemed to catch on. He's hiding something. I just hope it's not an affair. Well, I'm breaking confidence here, but I care about you too much to keep silent. John has consulted a divorce attorney. What? That jerk. He's planning to blindside me with a divorce petition without even discussing it. I'll give him a piece of my mind. Stay calm. You need to handle this wisely. If he senses you know, he might suspect me. I'm here for you, but I also value our friendship. I hope you understand. Of course, I'm sorry. This must be tough on you, seeing two friends in such a mess. What should I do? First, get yourself a lawyer. Prepare for either a strategic move or a swift response. Begin with an offer that exceeds what you think is fair. It might jolt him into realizing what he stands to lose. He might even attempt to halt the divorce. Secondly, I'd suggest hiring a private investigator, but the cost might be hard to hide from John. How about I keep an eye on him? He still confides in me. Honestly, Jerry, would you show me proof that John was cheating on me? Would you do that to your oldest friend? Jerry took Janice's hand. That really hurts, Janice. Yes, John is my best friend, but I care deeply about you too. I'd never let anyone hurt you if I could prevent it, even if it's my best friend. I'm sorry I doubted you, Jerry. I've never had a close male friend other than John. I'm starting to realize you might be my only genuine male friend. It means a lot to me to have someone care so much. I wish I could do more than just thank you. Jerry thought to himself, oh, you'll do more. Count on it. Well, John, unfortunately, it seems like Janice might be involved in an affair. Take a look at this. They look pretty cozy. Who's the guy? Kent Travis from her workplace. That's probably the guy she's been talking about non-stop. A can-do-no-wrong type. I'm not surprised. Send me a copy so I can show my lawyer. Sorry, pal. I can't do that. Adultery isn't grounds for divorce in this state. Plus, it might not be admissible as evidence. Most importantly, since it was taken without their consent, I might be legally vulnerable if her lawyer gets hold of it. I just wanted you to have confirmation. So, are you going to proceed with the divorce? I don't know. Despite everything now, she's been a good wife for over 6 years. At least from what you know. Yeah, but I feel like I owe her an explanation. Seems only fair. Fair. I thought you had more courage than that. She betrayed you, and you're thanking her for offering you some toilet paper after she messed up. I never imagined you'd willingly accept being deceived. I'm done here. Jerry grinned with his back turned to John, hoping to provoke a reaction regarding John's sense of manhood. Now it was time for his Photoshop trick on Janice. That doesn't reveal much. They were cautious. See how she keeps her hand on his arm. It rarely moved from there once she placed it. I couldn't catch her eye contact with John. It practically screamed, I can't wait to be alone with you. I was lucky to get the photos I did. John was getting edgy with me hanging around. Hate to say it, but if they're not involved yet, it's because they're waiting for the divorce. Why hasn't he served me if he's so eager? He mentioned his lawyer trying to safeguard more of his funds from the settlement. Consider filing first to freeze his assets. The papers are ready, but I feel I need to confront him. I don't have concrete proof of infidelity. Jerry grew increasingly agitated. Janice, he's consulting a divorce attorney. He's trying to conceal money from you. He's been distant and unaffectionate toward you. You've witnessed another woman showing interest in him. What more evidence do you need? I never thought you'd be someone who tolerates mistreatment from her husband, letting him return to hurt you repeatedly. My respect for you would dwindle if you did that. Jerry, how would I stay sane without you? You'll never have to worry about that. I'll always be here for you. This time, they parted ways with a hug and a brief kiss. Jerry was overjoyed. He had to remind himself how fortunate he was. Glancing at the calendar, he projected that he'd be with Janice by month's end. He needed one more piece of leverage to complete his plan. Insider knowledge. Jerry visited Janice and John's house, knowing John wouldn't be there but Janice would. "What brings you here?" "John isn't home yet." "I know. I just need one of John's tools. He said I could quickly stop by to pick it up." "Do you know where it is?" "Yeah, I'll grab it. Don't let me interrupt your dinner prep." Jerry headed to John's workshop and picked the dirtiest tool he could find. He returned to the kitchen. "I'm sorry, I got a bit messy. Is it okay if I clean myself and the tool in the downstairs bathroom?" "Boys and their toys. Just use the paper towels. Our rule is you make the mess, you clean it up." "Sure thing. Oh, could I get a glass of water with ice, please?" While Janice fetched the water, Jerry discreetly placed a microphone under the kitchen table. He then excused himself to the bathroom. When he returned, Janice had the drink ready. He finished it quickly and left. Once in his car, he called John, asking to borrow the tool he already had. "No problem." Jerry made a stop. The microphone had limited range, but he could hear Janice bustling in the kitchen. Soon, he heard the door open and close. "I'm home," John announced. Janice didn't respond. Sounds of dinner being set on the table followed. Janice asked John what he'd like to drink. He mentioned already having a drink. Within moments, their conversation took a tense turn. "I remember a time when you used to cook meals for a devoted, hard-working husband," John remarked. "Well, I remember a time when I had a devoted husband," Janice retorted. "What the hell do you mean by that? If anyone's not faithful around here, it's you. Damn you. I've been a loyal, loving wife for years, and what do I get? A husband who takes me for granted, who loves his work more than his wife. Now setting up a new fling for when he divorces me. Where do you get off saying that to me? I've worked hard for us, for our future family, for our retirement. Do I get any appreciation or gratitude from my wife? No, instead, she parades around like a tramp at work, flaunting her new boyfriend's qualities in front of me, torturing me. She sneaks behind my back, hires a divorce lawyer, doesn't even bother to discuss her issues with me. You're the one with a blonde girlfriend who can't keep her hands off you. I've seen a picture. Yes, I visited a divorce attorney, but it was in self-defense. You had already hired one for yourself. Now you're attempting to conceal money from me to avoid paying a fair share in a divorce. Well, I'm having divorce papers served on you tomorrow. I'll download our account balances now so you can't hide any more money. You're completely delusional. You're fabricating all those accusations about me to hide your own affair. Fine by me. Kent can have you for all I care. I'm out." Jerry heard the door slam shut. He was pleased. His eavesdropping confirmed he'd sparked the fire. Now he had to ensure neither of them doused it with water. Shortly after, Jerry's phone rang. It was Janice, crying. "We had a terrible fight. He left. Is he with you?" "No. I reckon he went drinking." "How are you holding up? Do you want me to come over?" "No, I think I need some time alone in case John returns. I'm afraid he'd be upset if you were here." "He didn't harm you, did he?" "No, but he hurt me emotionally. He denied any wrongdoing and accused me of terrible things. He seemed to genuinely believe what he was saying. We needed a mature conversation, but it just spiraled out of control so quickly. I hope he comes back so we can talk. He made some wild accusation about a guy named Kent. Do you know anyone named Kent?" "No one except Clark Kent. If he contacts you, please ask him to call me." "Are you sure you want to speak to him tonight? It might be better to let him cool down a bit more." "No, I think we need to air it all out, or else we're heading for a divorce." Jerry attempted to mask his excitement. "I really hope it doesn't come to that. I'll tell him to call if he reaches out to me." A couple of hours later, Jerry received another call. "Hey, buddy. I need a place to crash. Can you come pick me up? The bartender confiscated my keys, said I'm too drunk to drive. Ha. I'll be right there. During the ride back to Jerry's apartment, John seemed down. Man, I miss her already. Did I make the right choice, Jer? I haven't been the greatest husband, not by a long shot. I feel like I should apologize to her. Are you kidding me? If you want her to walk all over you forever, go ahead. If she's unhappy living with you, let her experience life without you. Don't call her. Don't respond to any of her attempts, calls, texts, or emails. When she's handling all the chores you used to do along with her own, maybe she'll realize how fortunate she's been. But there's a risk. This Kent guy might step right in and take your place. In that case, good riddance, right? Do you really think she'd do that? I don't know. I never thought she'd do what she's done. Janice attempted multiple times to contact John, but couldn't get him to answer or reply. She reached out to Jerry for help. Jerry, do you have any idea where he is? I can't deceive you. Yes, I know where he is. He's made me promise not to disclose it to you. He's also conveyed a message for you and suggested you might have a message for him through me. What did he say? Okay, just remember this is John speaking, not me. Janice, I can't believe how our relationship has changed. I'm relieved it happened before we had kids. I'm uncertain when we drifted apart or when we started considering options other than staying married. Following our recent conversation, I believe further discussions with you would harm my emotional well-being. I used to love you. Now I hope that by giving you your freedom, you'll find what you desire in a man, if you haven't already. I'm certain that man isn't me anymore. Sign my papers because it's fair. I don't want to fight anymore. But if you contest a fair settlement, be prepared for the consequences. I just want this to be over. I'll send Jerry to collect my belongings. Janice was in tears. I didn't cause our separation. He left me. I wanted to salvage our marriage. He seems determined to bring me down. Is there a chance he might reconsider and agree to counseling? I doubt it. He's asked me to come over for his things. I think he's found a new place and signed a year-long lease. If that's the case, I believe he sees it as over. I'll head over now if that's okay. That's fine. I could use someone with me right now. And I need time to formulate my response to him. Maybe you could assist. Jerry headed over to Janice and John's house. Janice rushed into his arms, crying. His excitement surged, hoping tonight would be the night he'd been waiting for. Janice pulled back and jokingly slapped Jerry. Jerry, you old horn dog. Hey, it's your fault. No man could resist a beautiful woman like you. He adjusted himself. Jerry used every ounce of flattery and encouragement he could muster, praising her for her bravery in standing up to John. Regardless of what Janice wrote in her response to John, he planned to convey Jerry's version to him. As Jerry prepared to leave, he attempted to extend their usual hug into a kiss, but Janice stopped him. It's going to be a while before I can think about intimacy with another man, even a great friend like you. Now go back and give John my message. Jerry cursed his luck. He returned to John with his belongings. Before bringing them inside, he urinated on the pile. He left the heap outside the door and entered the house. Hey Jerry, didn't she give you my stuff after all? Did she change her mind? Should I call her? Hold your horses, buddy. She did give me your clothes. They're outside. Why didn't you bring them in? You won't believe this. She had your clothes stacked in the living room. She stood on them, lifted her dress, removed her underwear, and urinated on them right in front of me. She said, "Tell him I urinated on his clothes just like he urinated on our marriage." John seethed with rage. Jerry had to hold him back from storming to this former home and seeking revenge on Janice. She's not worth landing in jail for. She's trying to provoke you. Don't give her the satisfaction. John discarded the clothes and any remnants of a desire to reconcile. He signed the divorce papers, and the process went through smoothly without any dispute or hearing from either side. Within a few more months, they were officially divorced. In her home, Janice mourned the death of her marriage, rarely venturing out except for work and occasional dinners with Jerry. Jerry grew increasingly frustrated at being excluded from her home. Finally, he confronted her. "Janice, it's not fair to shut me out because of John. You divorced him, not me. It feels like you don't trust me." "I'm sorry, Jerry. It's not about you. It's about me. I'm afraid I might be tempted to involve you just to escape my loneliness. I think I need something to break free from this self-imposed isolation. You can come over tomorrow night, and I promise to keep my boundaries." Jerry felt relieved. Tomorrow night would be the night he'd longed for since he first laid eyes on her. He was eager with anticipation. But Jerry began to overthink. He worried that Janice might get nervous and retreat, leaving him unsatisfied. "Not this time. Tomorrow is our night. No matter what, I'll have my pills ready, just in case." Janice welcomed Jerry into her home, where he arrived bearing flowers and a bottle of wine. While Janice arranged the flowers, Jerry poured the wine, engaging in conversation. Janice's persistent inquiries about John revealed she still held a flame for him, which grated on Jerry's nerves. By their third glass of wine, Jerry decided to make a move, slipping a powder into Janice's drink. As the drug began to take effect, Jerry played romantic oldies, inviting Janice to dance. Encouraged by the drug's influence, Janice didn't shy away from Jerry's advances this time. They danced intimately, and Jerry's affectionate gestures quickly escalated to kissing and exploring her body. With her inhibitions lowered by the drug, Janice eagerly reciprocated his desires. In the heat of the moment, Jerry undressed Janice and himself. Eagerly, Janice took him in her mouth, intensifying Jerry's euphoria. John burst through the splintering door, a silent witness to the shocking scene unfolding before him. Jerry stood frozen while Janice continued her actions, unfazed. Addressing them both, John revealed, "I discovered there's no Kent at her office. I pieced it together, spoke to her lawyer, and heard her side. I was wrong about her being deceived. Seems like Janice is having quite the time. Enjoy it while you can. Your boyfriend's about to face some serious consequences." Approaching them, Janice paused briefly. "Hey, good to see you, baby. Join us. I've missed your company. I'm eager tonight. Hurry and get naked." John was stunned. This wasn't the Janice he knew. He intervened, realizing something was wrong. As he pulled her away, he noticed her dilated pupils and drugged state. Jerry's life was saved in the emergency room, but irreparable damage was done. He faced charges for drug use, rape, and assault. Meanwhile, John found himself behind bars for attempted murder and threats. The memory of Janice's actions haunted John, despite knowing she was under the drug's influence. It was an image too vivid to overcome, leaving him unable to reconcile the truth with the distressing sight before him. He caught a glimpse of Janice at his trial, but quickly averted his eyes. She spent most of the time in tears, testifying about the events that led to John's violent reaction towards Jerry. Jerry didn't have to do much. The evidence of the extensive damage and Jerry's state was undeniable. John chose not to testify, except for a chilling smile and a gesture mimicking a gunshot when Jerry took the stand. It took the jury a while to reach a verdict, seemingly empathizing with John's discovery of his friend's heinous actions against his ex-wife. Jerry and John received sentences of 8 to 10 years. Prison proved unbearable for Jerry. Unable to protect himself, he fell victim to assault one night, landing him in the infirmary. 3 days later, he passed away. John, physically imposing, managed to fend off unwanted advances. He found an ally in a fellow inmate who refused gang affiliations and assaults, and they supported each other. Janice's attempts to contact John were rebuffed. Letters returned. Visits denied. Surprisingly, his last year marked only the fourth due to prison overcrowding and political ties that secured his job upon release. Changes in the firm's policies allowed felons with board approval to be employed, assuring him a return to his previous position. John settled into an apartment close to his workplace and the location of his and Janice's former home. Reintegrating into work proved more challenging than expected, with 4 years' worth of changes to catch up on, returning to desk duties. To compensate, he dedicated himself to rigorous workouts, maintaining the muscular physique he had built almost to bodybuilder standards. His physical transformation didn't go unnoticed among the women in the office, and he accumulated a collection of names and numbers that presented tempting opportunities. One day, spurred on by his motivation to end his dry spell, he'd randomly selected a slip with a number to call. Yet he couldn't bring himself to dial. An unshakable impulse led him to drive past their old house, seeking closure. His heart raced as he drove by, feeling somewhat foolish for expecting Janice to still reside there. To his surprise, she was in the yard, tending to the improved landscape, an unfinished task he'd left behind. She noticed him, and without much reaction, called out, "Come on in," before turning, assuming John would follow. Initially inclined to drive away, he battled conflicting emotions. His once intense hatred had waned. Parking in the driveway, he entered the house, struck by the unchanged atmosphere, an eerie sense of déjà vu lingering in the air. Janice noticed his expression. "I wanted you to feel at home when you returned. Dinner's ready. Come in." He couldn't shake the eerie feeling that she had anticipated his arrival. "You look great, Janice. You've toned up, lost weight. Always stunning. You've gone full Arnold Schwarzenegger on me. I dig the new look. How did you know I'd be here? I've made dinner for you every night. Leftovers for my lunches. Luckily, no need tomorrow. Will you say grace?" John stumbled through a prayer, then hesitated before eating. Tearful, he confessed, "I'm so sorry. I love you." "Enough, eat. We've wasted time. Mostly Jerry's fault. We got played. No more blame. After dinner, we'll get your stuff. Hope prison didn't alter your preferences because tonight, I'm going to blow your mind." "But how did you know I'd come back? How did you know I was ready for this?" "Just going with the flow. Once I found my own heart, I knew yours. We were once connected, one heart. I counted on that being unchanged. I had to believe you'd return. It got me through each day. Keeping our home was tough on what I made. It was my plan A-Z." John sat in disbelief at Janice's revelation. Then Janice added, "By the way, I was lying." John was taken aback. "Lying? About what?" "About going to get your stuff first. I'm ready for dessert in our bedroom, now." John stood up, asking, "Is the bedroom the same as before?" "Yeah, but watch out for all those grown-up toys on the floor."